Welcome back. With the recent release of the Lucky Lunar New Year event in Monster Hunter Now, we did receive new weapons and equipment, and one of those new weapons is the Fortune Dragon Fans Dual Blades. So in this video we will be going over this weapon, letting you guys know how you're going to forge this weapon, upgrade this weapon, as well as some builds that go along with this weapon. First, let's talk about the weapon, the Fortune Dragon Fans. First off, this weapon is going to be an event weapon, and it has come to us, like I said, in the Lunar New Year event. This event is only going to be once per year, so definitely make sure you forge all the Lunar New Year weapons and equipment that you want, because this event isn't going to come back until next year. Speaking of forging, the way you're going to forge these dual blades is going to be by collecting Lucky Lunar Dual Blades tickets. There are one of two ways to obtain these tickets. The first way is going to be by slaying a pink Rathian in the field. Upon slaying that pink Rathian, you will have a chance to either get the Lucky Lunar New Year's Dual Blades tickets or the Hammer tickets. It is RNG. And the second way is going to be by doing a huntathon and defeating any monster in that huntathon. Meaning, no matter the lineup, if you slay a monster in a huntathon, you have a chance of getting the Dual Blades ticket or the Hammer ticket. Each level is going to require 3 Dual Blades tickets, so that is a total of 20 in order to get this weapon to grade 6. But once you do get this weapon to grade 6, all you need is pink Rathian materials to continue to upgrade this weapon. The Fortune Dragon Fans are going to be of the Dragon Element type, and once you upgrade these to grade 10, level 5 out of 5, your attack will be at 1549 and your Dragon Element damage will be at 1131. These dual blades also come with the equipment skill of Divine Blessing. Divine Blessing is going to, depending on your level, the percent chance of reducing damage from a monster's attack by 50%. Once you upgrade these to a grade 8, you will have level 2, which is going to give you a 40% chance of reducing damage from a monster's attack. Now moving on to the builds, and there are just so many different options you have with these dual blades. First off, we are going to focus mainly on a build that is going to have dragon attack, mainly because the pink Rathian armor does have dragon attack on it, and we do want to boost that dragon element just in case we are fighting monsters that are weak to the dragon element. Our first build is going to focus mainly around burst, and our first piece of equipment is going to be the Zenogre helmet. It is going to have evasive concentration, which is going to fill your spirit gauge by a certain percent after performing a perfect evade, and our first level of burst. Burst is going to be the skill that increases your attack percentage by a certain percent depending on level after landing consecutive hits. Next is going to be the pink Rathian mail, which is going to be the chest piece. It is going to give you your first level of dragon attack, which is going to increase your dragon element attack. Next, it is going to be a level of focus, but focus does nothing for these dual blades. So moving on to the gauntlets, of course we're going to go with the Rathian gauntlets, which is going to give us lock on. You are able to lock on to specific monster parts to do damage to those specific parts, which is going to go great because we get our next level of burst, which is going to give us 2 levels of burst once we hit grade 6. Next is going to be the Rathian coil, which is going to be the waist, giving us poison resistance, which is going to reduce incoming poison damage. This is going to be really good because most of the monsters that you fight that have that dragon attack are going to be poisonous dragons. Once again, we're going to get another level of burst, which is going to give us our level 4 of burst. Lastly is going to be the pink Rathian legs, which is going to give us level 2 of special boost as well as dragon attack 1. This next build is going to be one of my favorites. We are still going to stick with the pink Rathian mail as well as the pink Rathian greaves, but for the helmet we are going to go with the Barrier helmet, which is going to give us a level 1 of evade extender, which is going to extend your evade distance, as well as 2 levels of Skyward Striker. This skill is going to increase damage for aerial attacks, and with the dual blades, the Heavenly Blade Dance counts as a aerial attack. Next is going to be the Rathian Gauntlets. Once again, it is going to give us lock on as well as 2 levels of burst at grade 6. Next is going to be the Barrier Coil. We're going to go with that for the waist. It is going to give us another level of Skyward Striker as well as ice resistance. And like I said before, we are still going to have the pink Rathian Greaves as well as the mail. This build is definitely a fun one. I really love using this. It is one of my main dual blades builds because it focuses on you getting your Heavenly Blade Dance, and it just chunks every time you use it. Also, as a side note, most times when I'm fighting something and using this build, once I use my Heavenly Blade Dance and the attack gets down to the tail, I'm usually able to sever it just about every time. This next build is going to be our last build that is going to require the pink Rathian mail as well as the pink Rathian Greaves, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm somewhat biased to this build just because I love the skill of Partbreaker. So first off, we are going to have the helmet of the Black Diablos, which is going to give us 2 levels of Partbreaker. Partbreaker, you are going to accumulate more damage to breakable parts, as well as Resentment. Resentment is low-key a sleeper because when you are taking damage, your damage is increased by a certain percent for 15 seconds, which that skill is a low-key sleeper because 15 seconds is actually a lot of time when you are hunting a monster. And for you to get increased damage on that, on top of you may have other skills for damage skills, like I said, it is a sleeper. Once again, the pink Rathian mail, the Rathian gauntlets are going to be the same. It's going to give us our dragon attack, lock on, as well as our 2 levels of burst. Next is going to be the Diablo's Coil. Once again, for Partbreaker, which is going to give us that level 3 of Partbreaker. And like I said, the pink Rathian Greaves are going to be the same. These next few builds are just a few fun non-meta builds that I thought of, and I thought I should share them with you guys. And of course, if you guys have any more builds or any more suggestions or recommendations for me or your fellow hunters, you already know to put them down in the comments. So this build is going to start off with the pink Rathian helmet, which is going to give us our first level of special boost as well as a level of windproof. Special boost skill is going to increase your special ability, Heavenly Blade Dance, by a certain percent depending on level. Our next piece is going to be the Anjaneth Mail, which is going to give us 2 more levels of special boost. Next, we're still going with those Rathian Gauntlets, which is going to give us lock on and those 2 levels of burst. Next is going to be the Azure Rathalos Coil, which is going to give us another level of special boost and a level of critical boost, which is kind of just a non-factor in this build. Lastly is going to be still the pink Rathian Greaves, because it is going to give us 2 more levels of special boost as well as 1 level of dragon attack. Those 2 levels of special boost are going to max out your special boost to 5. So you already know this build is going to be mainly about you getting your Heavenly Blade Dance and applying damage with your special ability. Our last build is going to be focused mainly around breaking parts, because the main objective of Monster Hunter now is how many parts can you break and how much materials can you collect. So the first piece of armor is going to be the Black Diablo's helmet, which is going to give us 2 levels of Partbreaker and 1 level of Resentment. Next is going to be the Rathalos Mail, which is going to give us 2 levels of Weakness Exploit. Weakness Exploit is going to increase your affinity by a certain percent when attacking a monster's weak points, aka breakable parts. So both of those skills go hand in hand. Of course, we're still going to stick with those Rathalos Vampirants. It is going to give us, like I said in the last few builds, our level of lock on and 2 levels of burst. Next is going to be the Diablo's Coil. Y'all already know. Partbreaker, once again, going to give us that 3rd level of Partbreaker. And for the legs, we are going to go with the Rathalos Greaves, which is going to give us fire resistance, which most likely is going to help because most of the times you're going to be using this build, it is going to be fighting a dragon. So why not have that little bit of fire resistance and another level of weakness exploit? And that is going to be it for this one, guys. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. If you do have any more recommendations or suggestions, please leave those down in the comment section for me or your fellow hunters. Of course, if you found this helpful in any way, you already know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button and that sub button. It really helps me out. As always, once again, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.